Hey guys, Dib the Awesome here to give you another Monster Legends Guides, where we talk about a monster's moves, their stats, their kits, who to pair it up with, all that jazz. Today we are looking at Goran. Goran is going to be a upcoming monster in the Dragon Maze event, which should be really easy. I'm really glad it's going to be a maze event too. There's a lot of good monsters in the event. And yeah, there's a lot of good monsters and stuff like that. And this is totally a monster you want to pick up on. This is a Earth supporter. I love this guy. This guy's great in design. It's just so freaking adorable. Look at that. You can't tell me that's not freaking adorable. It's just really cool throughout. Obviously, at some point he had a growth spurt problem, but just decided to grow a huge ass rock on his forehead. This thing actually, if you ever played Monster Hunter, this thing actually reminds me of the Barith. Uh, oh man, I should actually here. I'll put that up too to show you guys. Monster Legends. No, Monster Hunter. Barith. I think it's either this one or this one. Or try this one. I think it's yep, it's this thing. I'm pretty sure this is like this. See, look how like similar it looks. It looks very similar to Goran. It's very similar. It's obviously the head shape is different, but it's pretty much that kind of dragon. It's pretty much an Earth dragon like that. Uh, Except, like, the Bareth doesn't have any wings. This thing does. It reminds me a lot of that monster. In fact, like the Frost Wraith, too. I didn't mention it, but the Frost Wraith actually reminds me of Frost Lizard that I fought in, like, Dark Souls. If you ever saw my Dark Souls Let's Play with Yerk to Nerd, it reminds me exactly like that. That fight was, like, hard as shit. I died quite a few times on that. It was fun doing it, though. Alright, so we're actually gonna talk about Goran now. We're gonna talk about his move, his stats, and explain why he's really great. I love this guy. He's just a great monster, and I'm gonna explain that right now. All right, his power is 3,234. This is a pretty low power. Does not matter though because he's not there to do damage. He is not there. He's there to support. This thing is running at 31,667 life. This is a really great life. I love this life. I love the tankiness of this monster, and this thing can tank. This thing is terrifying. This thing's awesome. I love this monster. Its speed is 3,432. That might it's not it might be like one of the higher top speeds for Earth monsters in Monster Legends. It's not as fast as Atum's pet, but it might just very well play second or third. This is a really fast Earth monster. You want to think this thing is really fast, but he's really fast. Despite appearance, he is just terrifyingly fast. Uh, his trait is Mountain. This is an amazing ability. It's immune to stun and freeze. This is basically an Oros that can move. This thing is terrifying. This thing is great. Some people think this thing isn't great, which is atrocious. That's disgusting. This thing is a great monster. It gives stun. It gives immunity to stun and freeze. And its weakness is dark. Dark monsters, obviously. Terra Draco. This deals heavy earth damage to all enemies. Gives 20% shield to all allies made dazed targets. This is actually a really nice, even though this move doesn't look good on paper, the shield isn't that great. Just keep in mind it dazes. That's all you need to know. It dazes. That's literally the most important thing about it. It dazes. So keep that in mind. It dazes. Don't worry about the 20% shield. That's actually that's not even a good, that's not a good effect. It's 20% isn't all that much. Yeah, it's not all that much. But the daze effect, keep in mind it does dazing. Keep that in mind. That's important. None of these moves. I guess this was the only one that's kind of, it just gives stamina back, but it's not that important. Don't run this move. Don't run any of the moves. Maybe you want to run this one, maybe not. The AoE blind, that's important. Maybe I might actually not even run it. Just disregard everything in skill groups 1. All right, unless you want to be risky and run tremors, but everything else just don't run it. Lacking view. Okay. Wait. Before I go with that, I will say maybe this is a maybe move. You can possibly run this move. This is a maybe move. I'll explain why later on, but yeah. This is the first move in skill groups 2. Lacking view deals moderate special damage by blind target. This requires no cooldown. It's spammable. Run this move. People think this move isn't great. This thing is phenomenally great. He can blind the earth monster. You know, like all earth monsters are immune to stun. Yeah, well, this guy can blind you. He doesn't need to stun you. He can blind you. Uh, this is an amazing thing. It's very good in Team Wars, I believe, especially using it against the earth monster, especially against like Brontes. This thing is keep in mind, this thing is faster than Brontes. Keep that in mind. He is faster than Brontes. He's faster than the most common like denier for earth monsters. He is faster than Brontes, and he can do a lot of stuff to keep Brontes from actually hurting anyone. In all honesty, run this move. This move is important. Run lacking view. It's very important. Tough Skin gives a 40% shield to target, applies one random positive effect to target, requires cooldown. This is a phenomenally great move. Run this move. I know it's like there's a single target shield, but keep in mind it gives it a positive effect. This guy is really good at keeping people, at least especially a single person, alive. This guy's phenomenally great at that. He's also really good at keeping himself alive. And here's why. With Earth Energy, this deals low earth damage to all enemies, heals by 30%, requires cooldown. This is a great move. I kid you not, this move is really great. And not in terms of the damage, but in terms of the health recovery. This is a great move. Run this move. It can help him outlive Oros pretty much. Because Oros is really slow. If you run full speedruns on this thing, it's gonna outrun Oros like several times. So you'll be able to get this thing back up relatively fast. Baited Breath. This deals moderate special damage. May stun target. Requires cooldown. You can run this move. This wouldn't be a bad move to run. Yeah, you can totally run this move. It's not a bad move to run. I will say that. You can run it. It's totally optional. If people do Baited Breath over the lacking view, I wouldn't understand why. I'm just thinking in terms of like keeping the earth monster off you. Because that's usually the case. Usually the earth monster is the hardest thing for people to deal with. So maybe running the blunt. Maybe you can run both. I will say you can either run both if you wanted. You can do that. It's totally an optional move. There's really with this guy, you can pretty much build him however you want. This guy's a build your own monster, supportive monster, pretty much. You can run Baited Breath. You can do that. Protected by Earth. This gives a 75% shield to target, removes all negative effects, requires cooldown. This is a really great move. Run this move. This move is phenomenally great, and it's phenomenally great for specific monsters. So keep in mind, this guy cannot be frozen, and he cannot be stunned. His trait is, Mountain. It's a really great ability. I don't know why people are thinking this guy is terrible. This guy is amazing. This guy is phenomenally well. It's a well-thought monster. He's a really great monster. I'm not just saying that because I like the monster. I'm not saying that because of, he's my favorite one out of this event. I'm saying that because he has very good competitive potential. He's really good at keeping your attacker alive. Usually it's just like two monsters in a war. If you can keep your damage unit alive, you're really solid. You're really great. This monster is phenomenally well. Run this monster. This guy's important for Team Wars. Run this monster. Especially if it's like a two elements and a legendary war. This guy's great in that. This guy excels at protecting monsters. This guy's great. Run this move. You can even, like, if you don't even want to run Tough Skin, you can just run Protected by Earth. Less shielding. Most people would actually argue, though, you don't even need the second shield. But yeah, do run this move. At least run this move. At the very least, run this move. It's really great. It's a really, really great move. Run this move. Concentration Power deals low earth damage to all enemies, make earth precision to all allies. Alright, so this is why I said, like, you could run Tremors, Tremors. You can run Tremors because if you can do Concentration Power first, this gives you precision, so it makes it easier to run your AoE blind. You might not have to run this move depending on your attacker, like if it's like Lao, you don't have to run this move because she has 100% blind anyway. You don't have to run this move. I'm just saying it's a possibility. No Earth. I don't think there's many Earth monsters immune to blind, so you can run this move and not worry too much about it. It's an option. I'm not saying like it's the best option, but it's a option. You can do that. Uh, all right. So what is the best set for this guy? What would I actually recommend you to use? All right. I think for just optimal, like kit, just like overall deny, just supportive deny thing, I would run Protected Earth for at the very least run Protected Earth. I would say run Lacking View. Uh, it's just good for situations where you're running against an Earth monster, or it's the only thing left on the field, and you need to make sure it never hits your monster. Uh, well, keep in mind, I use like Will Razorface and like Lord Mammoth who do AOE dazing. So this in conjunction, I honestly like the AOE dazing and then like a single target or AOE single or AOE blind. It's just phenomenally well. It's nothing ever hits. It's just great. Uh, I recommend you run Protected by Earth. I recommend you run Lacking View, and between these three moves, it's up to you. What other two you need? You should run this. I will say you should run Earth Energy. So I guess like Protected Earth, Earth Energy, Lacking View, and the debate is Tough Skin or Lacking or Bated Breath. Most people will probably run Bated Breath, and that's fine. You can run either or. You can do anything you want. Really. People will probably run Bated Breath though because it's a stun, so you can protect your common and rare. This is that's an okay thing to do. You can do that. You can make this guy. Yeah, you can use this move. That either or, it's still a great option. Tough Skin or Bated Breath, whatever move you choose, it's still a great move. Uh, all right, so for runes, this is actually nitpicky. You can do two sets. It's totally up to you which one you want to run. You can run full speed runes. That's totally an option. This guy has decent enough speed to do that. You can do that. You can totally do that. You can run a life and two speed. I will say that he can run either full speeds or a life and two speeds. Uh, Either or is an okay option. This guy has okay life to live on his own. Uh, he has a recovery move, so he doesn't really need too much. He doesn't really need to be asking for too much for help and stuff like that. Uh, I think with the life room though, he'll be out there for a long time. He won't ever die really. He won't have to ever worry about dying because he'll have he'll have the blind. He'll have the single target stun. He can do a lot of things. He's really good at keeping damage. He's really good at keeping the enemy attacker from doing anything to you. He's very good at that. If they're running like the traditional team of a denier, buffer, and a attacker, the attacker's never going to do anything to you. You won't ever have to worry about the attacker doing any damage because this guy will keep him off your case. This guy can do that. He's very proficient in that. Now for partners, I think in all honesty, anything really goes. Since he has Mountain, I think he fits on every team. I kid you not, he will fit on any team you put him on. Mountain is a really strong ability because everybody stuns, everybody freezes. It's just a common thing, and this guy just defends well. He's really good at that. He's got good longevity. He's good. He provides good buffs for your allies. Timuron would be a nightmare. A Timuron and Goran combination would be nightmarish, especially if you have cooldowns deactivated or cooldowns activated. Just straight up survivability. That would be very terrifying if you do that. He would work well with Timuron. He'd work well with damage dealers that need shields or just things that provide protection when they need it, like Barbatos. Well, Barbatos, I guess it's not too necessary, but maybe like Atlas. Atlas would love this guy. In all honesty, Atlas would love this guy with providing shields and stuff like that. And keep in mind, Atlas doesn't even need double damage. If you have high enough strength runes, he'll kill anything pretty much. He does damage. So I will say Atlas would be a good idea with him. You could run a life rune on, if you're really worried about like Barbatos, you can run a life rune on it, on both like Atlas and Goran. That way there's no way the Barbatos is gonna be able to one shot it. It's just maybe it's like they actually do the double damage, but usually they just do the single. Sometimes they just do the single target damage. They might not buff themselves at first, so keep that in mind. And in some situations, though, actually, like I don't even think you have to worry about Barbatos because again, this guy can stun, this guy can blind. This guy's good for a lot of situations. Uh, he's just very versatile. This guy is a phenomenally great monster. I will say this 1,000 times because people don't think this guy's great. People don't think he's great as Oros, uh, which is interesting because he's a faster Oros. He moves. He can stun. He can deny. uh, he can protect and all that jazz. I think he's in all honesty, I think he's better than Oros. Not obviously not in terms of overall longevity. Oros is the king of that. He's got the double life. He's got regeneration. But I think in everything else though, Goran is pretty good at defending and stuff like that. Uh, yeah, and I think that's really it. Yeah, I mean, like again, final thoughts, final move set. You should run Protected Earth. You can this is I guess for sure. Like if you guys want a for sure set from me, just like straight up opinion based, you should run Protected Earth. You should run Baited Breath. You should run Lacking View, and you should run Earth Energy. That's the most definite thing I will say. That's the uh, I think that would be like an okay build for most of the community too. Most people wouldn't probably say run Tough Skin. It's not necessary, and that's fine. I think the build I've chosen for you is something like I think everybody can accept. I think both sides can accept this build, just because of its like utility and stuff like that, and just overall use. I think that's acceptable. I think people are okay with that. For rune sets, I might actually recommend you run full speed on this guy. He doesn't need it, but maybe he could actually, like, in case he gets like Timeron, like cooldown's activated, maybe he can like get the turns back. uh, or yeah, that's the definite thing I will say. He's not really much of a denier, but he's more so like you could use the extra turns to get back his like moves again. Like Earth Energy's a 3-turn cooldown. If he doesn't have to wait to recover again, that's nice for him. Uh, I will say that's the in my opinion that's the best option. Those are the best moves. That's the best outcomes for partners. If you need a definite partner list, Timeron, Atlas, Lord Mammoth. I think Lord Mammoth would work great with this guy. Uh, in all honesty, I think that would work great with him. I guess Varuna would work too. Just anything that's not immune to freeze. I will say if you use a monster that's not immune to anything, this is the guy to pair it up with. This guy literally helps protect the attacker. He works with anybody. He's a very versatile monster, and he's a really great monster. Don't. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised the wiki comments are actually downgrading this guy, saying he's not that great. He's amazing. He's a really great monster. There's not many Earth supportive monsters in Monster Legends, and this guy excels really great with that. This guy's really great. I can't wait to get him in the event. Let me know again. Let me know what's your favorite monster in the upcoming event. What's the one you want to get the most? I'm interested to know, and all that jazz. I'm Dib the Awesome. I'll catch you guys later.